Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at another product from Home Depot's 2023 lineup. This is the 6.5-foot animated Gravedigger, and you might be asking yourself, wait, didn't you do one of those last year? Yes, I certainly did, and that is him right over there. He's very imposing. I thought he was a great addition to our lineup last year. Made a little cemetery display using that casket prop as well from Home Depot last year. Really loved it. And I thought maybe we can make our graveyard even bigger this year. You know, Home Depot has a lot of interesting new tombstones. And now we can have like a whole scene with lots of tombstones and 2 gravediggers. And I think it's just going to look great. So this guy was $199. I don't exactly remember what I paid for that guy over there, but I suspect it was right about the same. But let's go ahead and open this up and see what you get for that kind of money. All right, we are off to a promising start. This has a display box on the inside. When I bought that guy, he did not. He just came in the exterior box. So I'm excited to have that extra box to display. This box is quite heavy, so I'm hoping he's a quality prop. The last one was pretty good, so I have high hopes for this one as well. It does say 6.5-foot Grave and Bones animated LED Gravedigger. He is animated. Looks like he has an owl perched on his shoulder. The side of the box here. Pretty much the same thing. It does say the mouth moves. Has a rocking motion. It's motion activated. The owl lights illuminate. And he has 7 different phrases with spooky sounds. Now, one thing I've noticed from the depiction of him is that he's very similar to our other Gravedigger, but the outfit is different. He's got enough differences in him that they will complement each other, but not look like a complete ripoff of each other. Let's go ahead and open up the box and see what's inside. So he is nicely packaged inside this box. I think we're going to have to be careful to be able to put him back in the box. But I do like that he is very compact. The other Gravedigger, which I just put together right before this video, came in a substantially larger box. So anytime we can save room, that certainly helps, especially if you've got a lot of these props like I do. They take up a lot of space, so storage is a concern. So we do have a nice full color set of instructions. We have a heavy duty base, and I can see that the motor is down here because, of course, he is supposed to be moving that shovel, which is much lower than our other guy. Other guy had the motor in his torso because his arm moved up and down. Let's go ahead and put this on the floor. We've got one boot that's attached to this leg piece, and I suspect that that's going to actually be working with the shovel mechanism. Now, it is the same boot as the other Gravedigger. However, that Gravedigger has black boots. This guy has brown. Some metal support bars. Our light-up owl. Another boot. They are the same, it looks like, so there's no real right and left, but you find that a lot with animatronics. Looks like we've got a hat with the attached hair. Again, very similar to our other guy there, but still different. It's a different hat, clearly, although I think the hair is actually a little bit different as well. Very large shovel. Hand mechanism. Another hand mechanism. Couple of different clothing pieces. Some more clothing. The torso piece. Shovel handle. Some extra foam. Not really sure what this goes into, but it's labeled D, so it must be part of it. Power adapter. And last but not least, we have his ghoulish face. Look how creepy this guy looks. Of course, we're going to take a closer look at him when we get him put together. So let's go ahead and get that started. I'm going to move this table out of the way, make some floor space, and get this guy to life. All right, I am loath to admit it, but I think this is one of those props that's going to benefit just from a little bit of instruction reading. It does seem to be a little bit complicated, so we're going to follow it along step by step. All right, the first thing we need to do, though, is put on his support poles. It's the standard support pole with the push button. There we go. Next up, we are going to put on his boot. the next support pole. That little piece of extra foam that we saw is actually going to go on now to give this leg a little bit of body. And then once that's in place, we're going to go ahead and put on the pants. Now, I know this might seem a little bit early. We don't even have the second leg on, but I guess that's going to be in the next step. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. All right, this definitely seems a little counterintuitive to what we are used to, but this torso piece only has the one connection bar. So that's going to get put on next, and it's just going to kind of float there. We're going to need to connect this cord from the top control box down through the leg to that box that's down there at the bottom of the animatronic. All right, so next we're going to connect the shovel. As you can see on the back of the shovel, it's got a couple of mobile prongs, which we need to put into these cylinders here. And then there is a motor piece that we are going to connect as well. With that in place, it makes me realize that I have this a little bit backwards. This boot needs to flip around, face it that way. I assumed that the motor or this little box was going to be in the back, but obviously it's not. It's going to be hidden there in the front behind the shovel. And now we can put on his other leg that's a little bit mobile. As you can see on the bottom of the boot, it does have a couple of prongs as well that are going to slide into the slots here on the shovel. But first, let's fish this leg up the pants. Top of the leg slots into the cylinders there, and the boot is going to slot down here. There we go. He is coming together. We're next going to go ahead and put on the head piece. Again, it just slots in, and then we have some cables we're going to connect. All we're doing is matching up the same colored cables, so it makes it pretty easy. While we're here, let's take a look at the back of the control mechanism. These are the wires we just connected, and this is the control box. You've got an on and off, and a sensor. You have a foot pad plug if you wanted to add one of those. You've got a volume control, and then the power adapter plug. All right, next we're going to put on his shirt front. Looks like it's got a couple of straps to tie it around the back. The front top has a little bit of Velcro to go around his neck, and then there is a cable for the IR sensor that's hidden in the front. While we're here, I'm going to take off this sticker. It's a little bit distracting. Definitely not going to want to leave that on for the final presentation. If you're worried about keeping the stickers for the letters, just move them to the inside where they're never going to be seen. And now we can put on his coat. I do like that it is fully open, unlike our coat on that guy where it's all kind of integrated into one piece and it was closed at the bottom, so you had to kind of shift it over the animatronic. These are so much nicer when you can just wrap it around and connect it. There are a few pieces of Velcro here on the back that are going to correspond to some Velcro on his shirt. That's going to help keep this jacket in place. All right, let's go ahead and fish the arm pieces through his sleeves. And the arm pins are just going to slot into the cylinders at the top. With both of the arms in place, we're going to assemble the owl now. He does have a stake on the bottom of it that's going to go through this hole in his jacket and hopefully go to a corresponding slot here, which is much better than some of the other animatronics. Like, for instance, I've got that pirate that has a parrot on his shoulder that just sort of Velcros in place. This actually will stay in place thanks to that hole. I like that a lot. Let's go ahead and take off this sticker. All right, so next is the shovel handle. I think we are going to just hope for the best here. So we've got the bottom piece. I'm just going to put it in and turn. Then the middle piece. There is here a little rubber gasket, and I think that's where his hands are supposed to rest. So let's go ahead and stick those on. Go ahead and put this one in advance. He's certainly starting to look creepy, but of course he needs his hat with his hair, although I kind of like him bald. But let's go ahead and put this on and see how that finishes him up. Super creepy. Now, the only thing we still have to do is plug him in. And in case you forgot to do it like I did, there is a slot here in the back of his coat where we can access the control units. All right, we do have a very lengthy cord. I'm going to say about 10 feet long. So let's go ahead and plug it into the control box, get the unit plugged in, and we'll see how he does. Before we give him a test, let's go ahead and bring the camera in and we'll take a closer look. All right, the first thing we notice is that both of these props are labeled 6.5 feet tall, but this guy is clearly a little bit shorter than the one in the back. Take that as you will. He definitely has a creepy face. Got lots of wrinkles, and it looks very realistic with those eyeballs that kind of bulge out and look real. The teeth are yellow and gross. And of course, we have blood all down the front of him. His jacket is worn and stained as well. The hands that hold his shovel show the wrinkles and the veins. As we move down, his pants end in these brown boots attached to the shovel. The owl that's perched on his shoulder does look very plasticky. If you're looking for a realistic prop, this might ruin it just a little bit. All right, the other thing that can really ruin a prop is bad sound. Let's go ahead and turn him on and see how he does.
So, you're wondering what I'm doing out here in the dead of night, eh? Well, what does it look like? I'm robbing some graves, obviously. Now, are you gonna grab a shovel and help me or not? I just might split the spoils with you. With every Halloween in this town, it seems that the graveyard near fills up. More for me. Don't worry, I'll save a fresh grave or two for you. You never know what treasures lie in these molding crypts. Some years ago on a night just like tonight, I hear the dead rose up from these graves around here. Oh, there's one now, trying to claw his way to the surface. I'll see if I can meet him halfway. They say this cemetery is haunted. Most of the time, those buried here stay dead. But every once in a while, one pops up and grabs you. So be careful where you dig now. If you're not, they're liable to snatch your ankle and pull you right in with them. You sure look fresh and clean. You've never had to claw your way out of the earth before, have you? Ever wonder what it's like to be buried alive? Well, maybe tonight will be your lucky night then. Some folks get superstitious about digging up the dead. Well, I can't blame them. The things I've seen would make your skin crawl. Similar to these juicy worms I just found. See, this job ain't all bad. These worms will make a tasty snack for later.
I'm pleasantly surprised that he has such a wide range of phrases, and they don't match the ones from the other Gravedigger, so you do get a little bit of variety, especially if you're going to keep them in the same scene, like I'm going to do. Have a team of Gravediggers here. Not too happy with the way the clothes fit. I mean, I guess it's kind of It looks a little bit all right. The pants might need a little bit adjusting so they're not sticking up, but there's nothing to Velcro them on each other so that they don't ride up or come loose and look bad somehow. I'm also not thrilled how the shovel really blocks his face if you're looking at him head on. That was kind of something we just saw when we were doing the actual animatronic. If they had just cut off the shovel about yay high, it would have made a world of difference and looked a lot better. I do like that his movement was a little bit more unique, as if he's digging with the shovel. It's not that standard animatronic where they just maybe move a little bit at the waist or their arm goes up and down. Definitely want to give him props for that. The other thing I really like is that if you leave him on continuously, his eyes stay lit. I can probably do without all of the sound effects and the voicing. However, they are not bad with this guy. I mean, I think the only real sound effect I heard was the hooting of the owl, so it didn't really detract from the voice. Really liked that. But I just, again, wish that we could have some movement without talking so that he can be background and not necessarily front and foremost in the display. I also kind of wish there was like a delay between the phrases. So maybe he'd keep moving, but, pause for 10 or 15 seconds before he would talk. What they really should do is they should make like a little remote control or something. That way, if you see someone walking up to it, you could activate it and let him talk. Or maybe he could still move around and just have the sensor activate when somebody is up close, and that would activate his voice. Lots of different options that I hope Home Depot looks into. But I know they are trying to innovate. All their props this year are starting to look pretty amazing. If you haven't seen their whole lineup, be sure to check out my previous video for the Home Depot Showcase 2023. And then aside from this guy, I got the Marie the Meddling Maid. This year, those might be the only two animatronics that I'm buying from Home Depot this year, but not the only ones that I'm going to be getting in general. I got a couple more that I'm going to be showing you coming up soon. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that, and other DIY projects, product reviews, and more. Before we go, I did want to say a special thank you to all the patrons who help support the channel. If you're interested in joining our Fright Club, be sure to check out the link to my Patreon page in the description below. That's going to do it for today, so thanks for watching, everyone. Till next time, take care, and happy haunting.
They say this place is haunted. Oh, I've seen the spirits of the dead walking and floating above the ground, but that's not my job. Oh, sir, I put the bodies under the ground.